Greetings from Cybertron. This is SoundJack here with another episode of SoundJack's Rambles. And today I'm joined by Alyssa.
Hello.
And we are here to talk about the movie Christopher Robin. Yeah, this one came out a bit of a while ago. We did see it, but unfortunately, just because of things happening, we weren't able to talk about it at the time. We wanted to, but now that we have a little bit of free time in the schedule, we figured we'd talk about it now. So do we want to start off with just like how we learned about like Christopher Robin or like Winnie the Pooh and all of that? Our exposure.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I don't really think I have much to say about Christopher Robin specifically, but I do have a lot to say about Winnie the Pooh. So.
Okay, go ahead then.
Okay, so, as I said, as far as Christopher Robin specifically is concerned, I remember seeing trailers for it, probably when they first started coming out, but I couldn't really tell you, like, that's kind of where I found out about it, so, nothing too exciting there. However, I will say that I have been a Winnie the Pooh gal for pretty much all my life. I definitely had a Winnie the Pooh stuffed animal at one point, I think. Two of my shirts at home have yours on them. When I did pin trading, I have a bunch of Winnie the Pooh pins. And I also have a treasury of all of the original A.A. Milne Winnie the Pooh stories. So I'm such a fan of Pooh that I've read the original stories.
Oh wow.
And the stories are actually really nice. I really like them a lot, and I would highly recommend them. I remember one of the stories I remember very vividly was one where Pooh and Piglet were walking in the woods, and they were like, whose footprints are these? And they were like, these are such weird footprints, and they were following them, and then it took them a while to figure out that they were actually their own footprints.
Yeah.
And the stories are very, very, very chillax. It's very much, everyday stuff. Nothing too exciting or adventurous happens outside of Pooh and friends doing some fun things in the Hundred Acre Wood. I've also seen a couple, like a good helping. I don't know if I've seen every single one of them because there are too many, but I have seen most of a good helping of the Winnie the Pooh stuff, like media. I think I've seen most of their. Okay, so I've seen 4 out of the. Wait, no, 3. I'm sorry, 3 out of the 5 feature films.
Nice.
So yeah, so I've seen most of them. I haven't seen a lot of the direct-to-video stuff, so I can't really say I've seen any of those. I definitely watched some TV series. Which ones did I watch? I watched the one that was on Playhouse Disney. It was like, I think it was the Book of Pooh.
That sounds about right. Was it?
Yes, it was the Book of Pooh. Not My Friends Tigger and Pooh. That's a different show.
Yeah. That was the one with basically the Winnie the Pooh puppets, right?
Huh?
That was the one with basically like the Winnie the Pooh puppets, right?
Yes, that was the one that had the puppets.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely remember watching that when I was a little tyke. So that one I've watched. That's like the only TV show I watched. I think I might have watched the TV special with the cave one. That was, I think, because there was a New Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, which was like a syndicated 80s show, and I want to say I've seen one of those specials. There was this that's what it is. I did see one of the direct to video ones. It was Pooh's Grand Adventure: The Search for Christopher Robin. Okay. It was like Christopher Robin got lost and he was in the skull. which is actually school, but they didn't know what that was, so they went adventuring. And I remember because there was a creepy cave that they went to. So yes, I have seen one of the direct-to-video movies. The actual theatrical releases I've seen are the original Mighty Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, the 77 movie. I've seen the Tigger movie, and I've seen the Heffalump movie. I haven't seen Piglet's Big Movie or Winnie the Pooh, the 2011 movie, which I want to say that one is the actual last 2D animated film that Disney Animation Studios ever did. Like, I want to say that's right.
No, if you're listening to this, correct us if that's wrong.
Yeah, I think it is. I want to say it's the last one before they went full 3D animation. I want to because I want to say because there was Princess and the Frog, which came out before this movie, and then Winnie the Pooh came out, and I don't think there's been any other 2D animated film made by the Walt Disney Animation Studios since. So, yeah, I want to see it. I do want to see it. I just haven't yet. It's on my list because I got to see everything Pooh related.
Yes.
I don't know. So yeah, big Pooh fan. So even though so as you can probably tell from the amount of time I've spent talking about Pooh related media, this movie was definitely on my radar as soon as I saw the trailers for it. Because how can I not see a Pooh-related project?
No, yeah.
So.
For sure.
Yep. What about you, Michael?
I mean, for me, like, I just came into knowing Winnie the Pooh, basically, it felt like.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to guess, like, my parents and grandparents and other relatives, like, give me a bunch of Winnie the Pooh stuff because, like, oh, that's the big thing for kids to get into at that age. And just, like, I had a bunch of the books. I don't necessarily remember any of them vividly. I definitely watched the TV show. My mom was told...
Which one? There's,
The one I definitely remember the most is the one we were talking about, the one with puppets.
The Book of Pooh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm going to guess there were others I watched. I do have memories of some of the older Winnie the Pooh cartoons. My mom's apparently told me that, like, if I knew there was a new episode of Winnie the Pooh coming out, I'd want to not go to school until I saw it. So I ended up staying at home for days when there were new episodes that came on.
Yeah.
From school. I don't remember that at all. But I guess that was the thing. So I definitely saw I definitely remember the Heffalump movie. I'm pretty sure I've seen the Tigger movie, but that one, the only thing I can remember is, like, I think all of the cast dressed up as Tiggers at the end of the movie. After Tigger couldn't find another Tigger, that's literally the only thing.
Oh, you mean the Tigger movie?
Yeah.
Yes, that did happen.
The Tigger movie. And I definitely saw Piglet's Big Movie because I remember seeing that one in theaters. And that was the last movie I ever saw at the movie theater that used to be the closest to me before it closed. And besides that, like, I've been aware of it. I haven't, like, particularly kept up with Winnie the Pooh since basically about then. The main thing is I've gained the knowledge of who some of the voice actors are, including Eeyore being the same person who voices Optimus Prime in a lot of things. That's my history. That's my tale. But even, like, back to the not keeping up with it, I still really enjoy it. I was excited for this movie, and the first, like, full trailer for this movie, I knew I was going to cry at this film. And Alyssa, was I right in that assumption?
Yeah. Yes, he was. He was very right.
Yes.
That's all I'll say.
Yeah. But yeah. So yeah, quickly before we get into the spoilers, Alyssa, would you recommend this movie to people? Did you like this movie? I mean,
I did, yes. Yes, I did like it. Sorry, I was reading something.
how dare you? How
I,
dare you be distracted on
oh
the
man,
podcast?
sorry, I got into a rabbit hole on Wikipedia again. It happens so often. So I really liked it. I thought it was really sweet. I thought it was really mellow and like had a good pace and had a good mood. Definitely a different change of pace from a lot of the movies that I've been seeing this year. A lot of the movies we've been watching and talking on the podcast have been very action oriented, I'd say. If that makes sense. I mean, pretty much all of the Marvel movies are action movies.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. What are there any other movies you talked about on this? I mean, Young Frankenstein might be the only movie I'm thinking about. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's very nice change of pace.
Yes.
I will say, if you are really like Winnie the Pooh and Winnie the Pooh is really like important to you, I will say you'll probably if you're really sentimental, I'm sure you'll probably be crying, but it's fine. And I will say though that if Winnie the Pooh isn't really your jam, or you're not too interested in a movie that's really just kind of slower, you might not like this film. Well, put it this way: the plot is very predictable. Like there's no like super huge twists that happen in this movie.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't really feel like the movie really needs to be twisted, needs to take me to unexpected places. I think that the movie did a really good job with this sort of basic story that it had. So. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I would say.
No, yeah. I pretty much agree with that. This was a nice time. Like, definitely a good change of pace. Just overall, nice, real feel good. Film.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
And I liked it for that. But yeah. So let's just jump right in there.
Sure.
I mean, do we need to talk about the characters a whole lot, because like most of people know who like the main ones are. We know who Pooh is. We know Tigger, Piglet, Eeyore, all of them.
Yes.
So I'm going to just start in just talking about the plot.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen.
Oh wait! Hold on. Back up. So we're not talking about any of the characters?
I mean, we will. I just don't think it's pertinent to do that right off the bat.
Oh no, yeah, because pretty much all the characters except for like some of the supporting cast are like.
Well, yeah, like all of the characters are faithful. All of the crew of the 100 Acre Wood are faithful to their origins. I would say you'd agree with that, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I don't think anyone was out of character. I mean, granted, it's been like a hot minute since I've watched or read anything Winnie the Pooh related, so maybe I'm off. But no, I think they're. I don't think any of them were like poorly done or anything.
Yeah. So just to get started with the plot, to find very solid, solid talking point. Movie starts with a goodbye celebration for Christopher Robin, because his parents are sending him away to boarding school, and they'll be away from the tree that takes him to 100 Acre Wood. Eventually, he meets a girl named Evelyn, who eventually becomes his wife, who he has a child with, who is Madeline, who will be important.
Yes.
But as around the time Madeline is to be born, World War II starts, so Christopher has to go to war. He survives the war, comes back, and his daughter is already 3 by the time he returns. Then he gets a job at He probably gets a couple of jobs, but the main one we see is the one at Winslow. Winslow. What's the full name of it?
I don't know. I forget.
It's like Winslow.
It's a luggage company.
Yeah, it's a
basically.
luggage company. And apparently, it's going down, so they gotta reorganize how the budget's working to try to pull the company up again.
Mm-hmm.
And then like the owner of the company's son is telling Robin, "Hey, this has got to happen. You either got to figure out a way to make the luggage cheaper, or we're gonna have to lay off some people." And we're going to work on it all weekend for the proposal on Monday. Even though that weekend Robin was supposed to go out to his family's country home, where the tree to the 100 Acre Woods is. But work has kept him, and he can't go and has to stay. Meanwhile, Pooh has been waiting for Christopher Robin to return all these years and years and years and years. One day he wakes up. Pooh wakes up, does his stretches, does his morning routine. But then he can't find anyone, so he decides to go through the tree or Christopher Robin's house, and he finds himself in the park next to Christopher Robin's house, and reunites with Robin in London. At which point, Christopher is a bit exacerbated by the Pooh's arrival and him trying to be work focused and busy and all of that. And unfortunately, for Robin, unfortunately, ends up having to return Pooh to the country house, to the tree, and then ends up going to the 100 Acre Wood. Trying to find their friends, though Robin gets more and more exhausted, frustrated with Pooh and his naivete. That'd be right.
Yeah.
And then and ends up losing Pooh as well. But then he gets lost, nearly drowns. Has a really, really weird dream featuring heffalumps. But when he wakes up, he gets himself out. He fell into a heffalump pit. He gets out of the heffalump hole through the rain, just lifting him up, which I just find is hilarious.
Yeah. Well, hold on. Are we doing a plot summary?
I was just going until I found something that really, really solid to latch onto. I thought I was going to stop like at the beginning where we got ourselves set in the film, but I just kept going.
Okay, I mean that's fine. I've been refraining from commenting because I thought that we were just doing a basic plot summary and we were moving on to talking
make
about
comments.
Detail.
Make my comments. I honestly a little off base of how to proceed.
Well, basically, I would say that the plot of the story revolves around Christopher Robin revisiting 100 Acre Wood after he's grown up, and he's basically rediscovering his childhood after having gone through hardships.
Yeah.
That's basically it.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically
Other things happen, but, like,
yeah,
we don't need to get into that.
Yeah, even though I was.
At least until we start getting into more detailed stuff.
Yeah. Any particular point you'd like to talk about?
Well, that whole scene you were talking about earlier with Pooh doing his morning stretches, that is ripped directly from the 77 film.
Of course it is.
Song and all. So, of course, I was like, oh my god. Like, that movie obviously it was made way before I was born, but it's still a really, like, childhood associated thing to me, so, damn. That's all I gotta say. It was a nice reference.
Yeah.
And I do kind of like how, even though it was a reference to the 77 movie, it wasn't belabored to the point where you were like, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really cute and adorable.
Yeah. Other plot related things. I'm trying to think.
Like, I do. In general, I want to say this is a very, very nice film.
Yes.
But there is not really a whole lot to think about.
No.
Um,
No, it's a very simple movie.
yeah, it's a very, very simple movie, but it is a very nice film. Let's talk. I just want to bring up the whole getting lost in the fog in the Hundred Acre Woods.
Sure.
Because I just want to see if you felt the same way I did about that scene.
Yeah.
Because I was feeling that because we know the creatures of the Hundred Acre Wood can be seen and heard by everyone. This is not just in Christopher Robin's imagination. They exist in the real world.
Yes.
But how they exist is the question I'm going to bring up here. If they are dependent on their survival based on Christopher Robin's imagination, and the fact that when the others were starting to disappear, it had been so long since Christopher Robin had thought about them, and then his eventual refusal of caring about Pooh when he got extremely frustrated at him was at all related to that, or to that idea of how they are. I know that's not like a thing to really concern yourselves with. I just wanted to see if that's what you're feeling with that moment when Pooh disappears mysteriously.
Oh, yeah, I definitely do think that, at least in the 100 Acre Woods, it is very much supposed to be reflective of Christopher Robin's psyche at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the fact that it's all foggy and murky kind of reflects the fact that all the color has been drained out of his life, and he isn't really having fun as he used to when he was a kid.
Yeah.
And he sees the world as a serious, dreary place, so it sort of reflects that. And I do think that it makes sense that when he forgets Pooh, that Pooh gets lost as well.
Yeah.
And he only finds him when he's sort of regained he's realized maybe being a stick in the mud isn't the best way to live.
Yeah.
And I think it works both ways. Like I don't like, obviously, like you said, this movie is really not, it's very fairy tale-y, you know, like it's not really supposed to exist in any sort of realm of actual logic.
Oh, yeah.
It's like a fairy tale, you know? Yeah. It's normal life, but magical things happen. And I'm not really here to argue how is it possible that these characters exist in the real world. And I'm like, I mean, they just do, like. Yeah,
I mean, I wasn't like
much exist with that mindset, so I think it's fine to think of it in that mindset.
Yeah, no, I was just curious. Like, I'm not concerned about it. I was like, yeah, this is an interesting question. I just, you know.
Yeah, but I do think that the Hundred Acre Wood is definitely supposed to be reflective of Christopher Robin's mental state.
Speaking of Christopher Robin. How about the scene afterwards when he starts running into people and they all think he's a heffalump?
Oh, yeah, that was really hilarious.
Yeah. So,
I think... What were you saying?
No, you go.
Yeah, I really think that was really funny. I think the thing that I really love about this movie is that it sort of showcases the kind of, like, how somehow, like, the logic of a child is different from the logic of like an adult.
Yeah.
You know, like, here's an adult being like, I'm not a heffalump, can't you see? But like a child, but like to them, he is a heffalump because he's a stranger to them.
Yeah.
And like, but like, it kind of makes sense why they're calling him a heffalump. You know, like, he's been gone so long, and he's so different that he's sort of representative of what heffalumps are.
Mm.
You know, he's not here to have a fun, lovable time. He's here to be serious business. So, I thought it was a funny scene, but I also thought it made sense too.
Yeah. But continuing on, I also want to point out, like, Eeyore, like, kind of like is the most in that scene. Eeyore ended up feeling the most worldly aware. Where, like, he was referring to Christopher Robin as a heffalump, as some other woodland creature would refer to, like, a human, like, not being serious about it, but, like, just kind of like an insult that they're not behaving the way they should be or something. You understand what I'm talking about? Whereas,
yeah, like, no, he used heffalump more in the sense of, like, calling someone something.
Do you have to bleep that out now?
Maybe.
Anyway, but I say that because it feels like everyone else in the film responds to it as literally, this is a heffalump. This is what a heffalump looks like. This heffalump is going to eat us.
Yeah. I think that's a good assessment.
Yeah. Because also Eeyore then ends up helping Christopher Robin convince the others that he is Christopher Robin.
Yep.
That was a really nice scene. That was a really nice scene. Well, who did Peter Cullen come in for Eeyore? No, it wasn't Peter Cullen. It was Brad Garrett. No Cullen in this film anymore.
Nope.
Nope.
I didn't know that Peter Cullen originally voiced Eeyore.
Yeah, he did. You didn't know that?
I feel like I did know that, but I just forgot.
I thought you did.
I'm sure you've told me like 5 times, and then I just keep forgetting every time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, but I definitely agree.
Yeah.
Speaking of voice actors, though, Jim Cummings returns.
Of course he does.
As Pooh, and he is
and
just as awesome as he normally is.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, of course. I mean, Jim Cummings is coming back to make a cameo appearance as Darkwing Duck on DuckTales. Of course he's coming back to be Winnie the Pooh and Tigger.
Yep, he does a great job.
Yeah.
Live, as always, and he really does sell Pooh.
Yes.
And his manners.
Oh, yeah. Quick thing on voice actors, though. I was looking through the list of the voices, and there's only one other name I recognize. That being Peter Capaldi, having voiced Rabbit in this.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. I was like, oh, okay. Makes sense, considering who he played as in Doctor Who.
Yep.
Or how the Doctor was portrayed while he was the Doctor, I should say.
Yep.
Well, yeah.
So, now that we've talked a little bit more about the plot, do you want to talk more about the characters themselves?
Yeah, sure. I mean, we've gone through Christopher a bit.
I just want to... yeah, we have talked about a little bit about him.
Yeah, not like completely, but like we've done a bit with him. But you sound like you definitely have something else specific you want to say.
Well, I specifically want to say that I think that Ewan McGregor killed it as Christopher Robin. Like, he was awesome.
Yes.
I feel like this movie, out of all the movies I've seen with Ewan McGregor in it, and I've seen quite a few, I think this one probably really shows how standout of an actor he really is. Because, I mean, if you think about it, he pretty much has to sell the movie by himself. Because for a lot of the time, he's not actually with any other actors on screen. He has to pretend there's an actor there.
Yeah.
And that's pretty hard to do. So I think that he really, 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 really does a good job. It takes a lot of skill to be able to act like this.
Yes.
And I mean, obviously, so I think that this movie like really sells that to me.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also really think I want to talk a little bit more about Evelyn and
Definitely.
Who's his daughter's name again?
Madeline.
Madeline. Okay, I definitely want to talk about them. Evelyn is portrayed by what's her name?
Madeline Bront Carmichael.
Bront Carmichael. Yes, she is Peggy Carter. For those of you who don't recognize her name.
Wait, what?
Oh no! That's Bronte Carmichael is Madeline.
That's who you said. You said Madeline. Who is Madeline?
Oh, I meant Evelyn. Haley Atwell portrays Evelyn, and that's Peggy.
I was going to be like, I think Madeline. I think Bront is a little too young to play Peggy Carter.
That's fair.
Might be a little young.
And Peggy Carter, and Haley Atwell is awesome as she always is. I don't know if I've ever seen her in anything that she was bad in.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, granted, I've really only ever seen Captain America was the only movie I've ever seen with her in it, but she's still a good actress, so I'm happy to see other projects with her in it.
Yes.
I think she does a really good job.
Mm-hmm.
And I gotta say, I'm really happy what her place is in this movie, because like there are tons of movies out there that have the whole beleaguered father who needs to learn to be a child again plot,
Mm-hmm.
Like there are many movies like that. Hook is probably the most comparable to this movie.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know for those of you who don't know, Hook was a like 1980s Spielberg film starring oh my god, Robin Williams. How did I forget Robin Williams? Oh my god, starring Robin Williams as Hook. Like the conceit of that, Peter Pan. And the conceit of that movie is that Peter Pan basically grows up, has kids, and then is an awful person, and then has to remember to be a kid again by going to Neverland.
Yep.
The movie has a really interesting cast. There's oh my god, what's her name? Is Tinkerbell. Oh my god, I know who it is, but I forget. She was like in a million movies that were happening at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god. But so it had a lot of, I want the movie. Hold on. I will know who this is. It's a film. Oh, it's a 1991 film, so it's a 90s film, not an 80s film, but around the same time. It was Julia Roberts. Holy crap. I'm just not on my game right now with actors. The one notable thing I will mention about Hook before we move off of it is that it's the first appearance. I think it's one of his. It's Dante Bosco's first major role as Rufio.
Who was that?
Avatar fans, if you want to see a really young Dante Bosco, watch this movie. Anyway, that's totally off topic. But my point is that movie is pretty much beat for beat the same, at least basic plot structure wise, as Christopher Robin.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say I'm really happy that I don't know. I think in Hook you don't really see Peter's wife all that much. I don't even think she gets screen time, or if she does, it's like really a small moment.
Mm-hmm.
But in this movie, she gets a lot of screen time, and she's very she has a no nonsense kind of sense to her, and I like that.
Mm-hmm.
And she's also very willing to sort of accept the Hundred Acre Wood gang. She's just like, this is happening, I guess, and then just rolls with it. Which
she is like just hearing her husband talking about it, she's just like, you're crazy. I think we need to take you to a doctor. And then they just land. Well, sorry about that. They just land on her car, and she's like, okay.
Yep.
Also, I just remember the cute thing of like Christopher Robin introducing her as, "This is Evelyn, my wife," and he was like, "Hello, Evelyn, my wife."
Yes.
That was cute.
That was really cute. And then Madeline, I want to talk about.
Yes.
I gotta say, I really liked Madeline in this movie.
Yes.
Again, I think with movies like Hook, for example, in Hook, it's like weird because his kids and Peter are separate. Peter's separated from his kids for like most of the movie, and his kids get like one of them gets straight up kidnapped, and the other one gets brainwashed into like thinking his dad's not his dad. It's a really weird moment in the movie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's I don't know. Hook is an odd film. It's a very weird film. Anyway, so his kids aren't really involved all that much in what's happening. They're just kind of like part of Peter's journey, you know? Whereas in this movie, I feel like Madeline's very much more of her own character. Like, she has a moment where she interacts with the people of Hundred Acre Wood. In fact, she is the element that the entire third act revolves around.
Yes.
In that she is trying to get his father's important papers back to him because Tigger decided it would be a good idea to fill his briefcase with a bunch of sticks.
And then Pooh's like, oh no, he's going to get eaten by woozles for breakfast.
Which, and she, classic Tigger move, I gotta say.
And she, yeah, definitely classic Tigger.
Yeah, so I'm really happy that we got to see that his daughter really played a big part in the climax of the movie. And also shout outs to her wearing pants. You don't really see women wearing pants in like period films in the 40s, 50s.
Yeah.
Unless it's Grease, I guess, but
yeah. But
that's like, typically for the rebel chicks, you know.
Yeah.
Even though many people did wear pants.
Yep.
You know, back then, especially little kids.
Yeah.
So I'm really glad that they had that part of that outfit for her, and I think it also just practically makes sense. You know, they're having her, you know, ride a bicycle and like do all this other stuff, which might have been impractical with the skirt. So no, definitely really cool. And I think that Bronte Carmichael, look, I got the actor right this time.
Yeah.
She does a great job as Madeline too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's all I wanted to say about those two characters. But I want to make sure we talked about them because
definitely,
really cool.
Definitely.
Yeah. Do you have any other notes about characters?
I mean, you got them pretty much. Those two pretty much covered. The only other person of note is Giles Winslow Jr.
Oh yeah.
Because boy is he a jerk.
He is very much a jerk. I think probably the best scene, one of the best scenes in the movie involving him is when Christopher Robin's in the elevator with him, and then they talk about like the report, and then, you know, Christopher looks down and he notices that like
golf clubs.
He has a golf clubs with him, and it was just like, what a great way to communicate to the audience that he wasn't doing any work over the weekend.
Yeah. Like, we just thought he was
nice.
Like, up until this point, we just assumed he was a strict boss.
Yes.
Then, at that moment, that entire character just flips.
Yeah. And I thought the framing of that was really well done.
Yeah.
Like,
and then when we go into...
nice way to establish that he was being scummy.
Yes. And then when we go into the meeting, and the first thing that comes out of his mouth is basically, I can't wait for Robin to show you the report that we worked on all weekend.
Yeah.
And then Robin has to depart to find his daughter. And then old man Winslow is just like, well, you worked on this with him. Shouldn't you have a copy?
Yep.
And then you can just see the bullets of sweat even though they weren't actually on his face, you could just feel the bullets of sweat just falling down his face.
Yeah.
And and then he's just being like, trying to go through the bag, trying to find the papers. He's got weird stuff in there. It's like, you know, maybe he's gone mad. Maybe we should fire him and his entire department. You know, that could work.
Yep.
And I love how. Yeah. You got something to say?
No. I think you've said everything that I wanted to say about him.
Yeah. And then I just want to make a quick shout out to Robin's staff.
Oh yeah.
As a number of them are definitely meant to be parallels to members of the 100 Acre Wood.
Yeah.
A couple of them are not so specific, but there is one man that is clearly designed to be the Eeyore of the group. And I feel like the woman who's trying to do the reading was trying to be the rabbit.
Yeah.
Maybe
I
the
wasn't
owl,
even
but
thinking about that, but wow.
maybe the owl. Maybe the owl.
I mean, Owl is more of like Owl's like a know-it-all, but in the worst way.
But like that's what she was trying. But like that's why I'm thinking she might be the owl, because she was saying I'm so good at lip reading, and she was just translating all gibberish. Where that would totally,
which is definitely more of an owl move than a rabbit move. Rabbit is kind of conceited, but he's more practical and being in charge. This is more of his mode.
Yeah,
like keeping people in line.
Yeah, and again,
doing things as practically as possible. Whereas Owl is more, I know all of this, and he just doesn't.
Yeah,
he just knows nothing.
Yeah, and again, it doesn't seem there's a perfect one-to-one parallel for everyone. It'd be very surprising if there would. Admittedly, it would be surprising if there was a Rue parallel. In the office,
just little child.
Unless if it's like the intern who is like the understudy to like the main secretary or something. I don't know.
Yep.
Or he's the intern because his mother works there or something.
Just casual child labor. It's fine.
Yeah. I mean, like, intern, like, maybe, like, 17 and it's an older woman, but the kid is very much more childlike than the others.
Gotcha, yeah.
Than other kids.
Way, I did not even think about that kind of parallel, but now that you pointed out, that's pretty on I'm sure that was probably intentional.
I mean, definitely with the old man, the Eeyore parallel, because, when Giles was like, I think that donkey is staring at me, and then it was just that guy just looking back at him when old man Winslow saw. It's like, how dare you call him a donkey?
That's
or
fair.
Something like that. And I'm like,
right.
Yeah, I feel justified in my assumptions.
Yeah, definitely. I guess I just didn't catch that when I was watching it.
Yeah.
But that can happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of anything else I want to say about this movie.
One thing I definitely want to say.
Yes.
Because I didn't realize it at the time. But there is a mid-credits scene.
There is, yes.
Yeah, where there is a pianist playing a song called Busy Doing Nothing.
Yes.
The man in question is Richard M. Sherman of the Sherman Brothers fame.
Oh, really?
Yes.
That's such a good cameo.
Yes.
I didn't even notice that.
Yeah. Also, I would not have expected it because, I mean, the dude's 90.
Yeah, no, he's an old buddy.
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty, wow. Okay, cool. Because, I mean, I like that mid-credit scene. I thought it was really cute, but I wasn't really sure what the point of it was, because I'm like, there has to be some sort of significance of something going on outside of it just being like a quick little epilogue.
I just want to... But I'm curious if that was a song that was a thing, or if that was...
Busy Doing Nothing?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm trying
to... But wow, so that's really cool.
Oh! Hold on.
What?
Nah.
Well, the
same.
soundtrack has it listed that one of the Sherman brothers wrote it.
Yeah. I think it might have been originally written for that. Yeah, because everything I'm getting seems relating to the Richard M. Sherman.
Yes.
Seems to be related to the film. I ended up stumbling upon another song from a Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's court that starts with "We're busy doing nothing, working the whole day through," but the lyrics are different from the ones from the movie. So, new piece, it seems.
Gotcha.
unless no, again, if you're listening, um, if you have insider's knowledge that is disagrees with what I'm saying,
Yeah, give us a shout out. Let us know.
yeah.
Yeah. Also, Goodbye Farewell, that song that they sang at the beginning, was also written by Sherman.
Yes. That's a nice piece.
So, speaking of that scene, how many times in total did you cry, Michael?
I want to say 3 or 4.
Which is so okay.
Like,
just
okay,
for
and
clarity.
Yes.
You go. You were saying something.
For clarity, like it was, I cried 3 times, as in tears came out of my eyes. They were not massive sobs.
Yes.
Like in Avengers Infinity War with that scene. You know the one I'm talking about. That was more of a sob. This was just like, oh my god, that's so touching. That's so adorable. Oh my goodness. Kind of a crying. Like it's so sweet, and it's like a bittersweet kind of a thing. Especially with the goodbye farewell. I'm trying, and then definitely I'm trying to remember what the other moments were, but but it's definitely like towards the beginning and then towards the end were the moments. The middle was not it, but it's still very sweet and very nice, and all that good fluffy fun. Rainbows and butterflies. Oh, it's too cute. Oh man, kind of a thing.
Yep.
But you were saying?
I was saying that, like, for me, I typically don't cry at movies for the most part. A movie really has to be tugging on my heartstrings in order for me to cry. Like, the most I'll get, like, in your average movie, the most I'll get is choked up. But visible tears, it's like a little harder. This movie made me cry visible tears, which, like I said, doesn't happen often. So, and I don't know. I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that this show, like Winnie the Pooh, is so important to me in terms of my childhood, and so I'm maybe a little bit more receptive to, or more susceptible to, feelings of weird nostalgia and sadness and happiness and cuteness towards him. I mean, I even have a poster of a drawing of him on my wall, so that tells you how important he is to me. So I think that's part of the reason why. I feel like if it wasn't, I'm debating, I don't know if I would have cried at those scenes if it hadn't been like Pooh and Friends. Like if it had just been like, I don't know, some random goodbye party, I feel like I would have been like, this is emotional, but maybe not tear-worthy.
Yeah.
Because it's Pooh, of course I'm gonna cry.
Okay, I mean, to be fair, one of the this is a side tangent. One of the times I remember weeping the most at a movie was during the Les Mis.
Like the live-action Les Mis?
Yeah, the live-action Les Mis. Of all things, Javert's suicide.
That suicide was so corny! Oh my god, he just falls and then lands in a puddle.
I was with a whole bunch of my friends from PAI and SEM, and we went to see it, and I was with another guy who was a couple of seats down, and we both were just losing it over Javert dying.
Oh my god. I mean, like, I've seen clips of, I think I've seen Les Mis all the way through once. Maybe I have, I don't know. It was a while ago if I did, so I forget most of it. But, like, that scene is, like, not even that, he just kind of falls into
Okay. This is also including the fact that we watched the thing the whole way through, and we listened to the song, which, gosh darn, that song is powerful.
I mean, like, look, I'm not trying to diss Les Mis, like, in its entirety.
No.
Like, I'm totally here for it, but God, Russell Crowe's singing in that movie.
I mean, I also agree. I agree.
It's kind of hard. It's kind of hard for me to buy into a scene like that when the person singing it is like struggling to like because the problem with Russell Crowe is that he can sing because he has a band. I think.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's recorded some albums, but the problem is that he's not trained in theater. He's trained in like folk music or rock music. Yeah. So it's different from playing on a stage or playing or singing like for theater. Yeah. So I don't know. I feel like his singing just kind of took me out of it. So there was really no way I was going to be like that emotionally impacted by Javert's death.
Maybe we should have saved that for when we actually talk about Les Mis.
Huh?
Maybe we should have saved that for when we actually talk about Les Mis at some point, because I have a feeling...
I mean, like, are we going to talk about the movie?
I mean, the musical at the very least. I'm not sure about the movie.
I mean, like, I don't know. It's okay. I'm sure we'll bring it up again, and I'm sure I'll say the same thing, which is fine.
No, Though, one quick thing, that spine snap at the fall. Oof.
Yikes.
Was that necessary?
I don't know. I guess we really just needed to know he was definitely dead and wasn't going to rise out of the grave.
Rise out of the river for Les Mis to Javert's revenge.
He's back, and this time he will steal double of your bread. Oh wait, no, that's Valjean.
Yeah. And
he will make sure you don't steal bread with double the force. I don't know. Man, I had a good joke, but then it went away from me. Anyway.
Yeah. Back to this film, Christopher Robin.
Back to Christopher Robin.
You go.
So I was gonna say, are there any criticisms or negatives you wanted to bring up? Any onions, as I like to say?
I don't know. No, everything's good. Animation.
Okay.
And I'm just gonna point out a couple of positive things we haven't touched on.
Sure.
The animation is really good. It feels like they're stuffed animals that are alive.
For
sure.
Yes, I do agree. The CG on the Hundred Acre Woods crew is really good.
Yes.
I have no problems believing they're there. I'm not looking at them and saying, "Oh, it's a CG animal." I'm like, "Oh, it's Winnie the Pooh."
Yeah.
I believe he's
even.
There.
Yeah. Sorry, I keep cutting you off. Yeah.
It happens. Why don't you go though? Because I have finished my thought.
Yeah. Even dirt, when they get dirty, when they're walking through the mud, the details on how the mud would be on the fur of a stuffed animal that felt genuine.
I definitely. Oh my god, I definitely agree with you on that.
The music.
Music's good.
Yeah.
I can't say any. Well, look. So, with most movies, the soundtrack I didn't think was so. Unless I'm trying to think of a movie that has a memorable soundtrack that I'm I know a lot of the leitmotifs from this movie. I'd say Star Wars is one. Lord of the Rings. I had one in my head, but then I lost it. Pirates of the Caribbean. That's the other one.
Oh yes. For sure.
I mean, the theme song for Pirates of the Caribbean, you're not forgetting that for ages. Superman, another classic theme, Jurassic Park. I mean, this movie's soundtrack didn't have anything too stand out to the point where I would be humming it, No,
yes.
But the two main songs they sang, Goodbye Forever and what was it? Doing Nothing Day.
Yeah. Busy Doing Nothing.
Busy Doing Nothing. Those two songs were really nice, and I liked them a lot.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't really say that. I mean, I thought the soundtrack was unintrusive, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Which is what you need in this movie. You don't necessarily need to remember the songs or how they went, It
just needs to be there to set the mood for the scenes.
Yeah, and I think the soundtrack set that mood. I don't, it would have been different if it had been, something like Baby Driver has a more pop, a licensed song kind of soundtrack.
I haven't seen it, so I don't know.
Oh, it's an Edgar Wright movie that came out recently.
No, I'm aware. Eric.
Oh, you just haven't seen it?
Yeah,
I'm
Eric
just
loves
trying
that
to think
movie.
of
I'm certain if he
Yeah.
listens to this and hears this part, I'm going to get a text from him being like, "How dare you? How dare you have not seen that yet?"
I mean, hey, if you want to see it, we can always put it as a podcast, and then we can watch it.
Yep. And then Eric will kill me if I don't put him on.
I thought the soundtrack was good.
Yeah.
My point is just it's not a memorable soundtrack.
Yes,
but I don't think that's a bad thing. Like,
No.
I'm not trying to say, oh man, this movie doesn't have catchy songs, so therefore it's a bad soundtrack. Like, no, this movie's not supposed to have catchy tunes or like a big leitmotif that you're supposed to remember for ages. It's not like a John Williams, soundtrack where it's like, well, this is something I'll remember for ages to come. And that's not a bad thing. It's fine if there's no like big. It's not like a musical, like if a musical had bad songs, then I'd probably knock it more, because that's the whole point of a musical. The songs are sort of at the forefront in a lot of ways, and in many ways the songs are supposed to be a like method of telling the story. So if the songs suck, then it's like, well, all of a sudden everything sucks. So but in this case, it's not a musical, and you don't really need to have the best songs ever. You just need to have songs that do their thing, and these songs do their thing.
Yep.
That's my piece. Okay.
Yes. Cool. But you had asked me for onions, and I feel like when I started saying about the animation and music, you had a couple onions you wanted to mention.
I'm trying to think. I typically always have onions, and that's not saying that I don't know. I just review wise, I always really hesitate to call movies amazing, because I feel like every movie has its flaws in some way or another.
Yep.
And even if I personally think a movie is amazing, I still feel like acknowledging a movie's flaws is really important. Because movies, like, there are a lot of movies that I like that I acknowledge are very, very flawed, and probably, aren't like good movies on their own, or probably wouldn't, like, if someone didn't like a movie that I liked, then I was like, I love this movie, and someone's like, I'd be like, I understand. I get where you're coming from. So that's why I typically I have negatives. But I don't really know if I have one. I guess the only flaw I would say is that this story is pretty basic. And that's something I mentioned like earlier, like this movie has a really basic plot, and like an adult, like your average adult moviegoer, is probably going to know where the movie's going to go. Like, as soon as they hear this story, they're like, okay, I know where it ends. Like, there was nothing, like, going in, you aren't thinking, man, is Christopher Robin going to stay as an adult, miserable adult forever? Is he going to leave the 100 Acre Wood without worse than when he arrived? But, like, no, that's not going to be how it ends. They're going to have a happy ending at the end, because it's Disney, and they wouldn't do that. But that's not necessarily like a bad thing for the movie. I guess I'm just saying that as just like, I guess if there's one thing that's holding this movie back from being like a great movie, or a movie that I like talk about all the time, it's that like there weren't too many like surprises or unexpected things that came my way. Most of the things that I got what I saw, is my point.
Yes.
Which isn't a bad thing. Which is not a bad thing. I am very happy with what I got, and I am happy to have seen this movie, and I'm very happy to have seen this movie, and I still like it. My point just is that there isn't too many surprising things in it, which, in general, isn't always a good thing in a movie. Sometimes you want to have some unexpected things, but, Anyway, that's all I'll say for negatives. But again, I don't even know if I'd say that that's a negative. I don't even think that flaw is really something that kept me from enjoying it, or even something that I personally was like, wow, I don't like this about this movie. That's just me saying that's a flaw or a thing I can see people not liking about this movie. Just out of fairness, like, I feel like it's bad to praise a movie too much, just the same thing as it is to rag on a movie too much.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's a flaw I will acknowledge. But But personally, I thought I don't really have any personal flaws or anything that stuck out to me as like, wow, I really don't like this.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go.
Yeah. 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 I mean, it is like we've mentioned before. It's a simple movie.
It is.
It's very good, as a very good change of pace. It's very just a nice feel good movie. You're gonna have a good time. You may cry a little bit if you're a little sentimental, a little emotional, but overall, definitely a feel good movie. Definitely not the type of movies we get in theaters nowadays. Not the type of films we tend to see most of the time, but again, very nice film. If it's not your speed, it's not your speed. You're not interested in the characters. You're not interested in the characters. That's all we can say. If you like these characters, you'll have a good time. You'll have fun. You'll enjoy yourself. But is there anything else you wanted to say?
Not really.
Yeah. So I think that's all we have to say on Christopher Robin. Definitely, if you haven't seen it, if it's still in theaters, I'm not even sure if it's still in theaters at this point.
It is still in theaters. When I first looked up the movie, it was showing me playing times, so you can still go and see it if you want.
Yes, so if you haven't seen it or want to see it again, go to your theater, go to your local theater and watch this film. But yeah, that's it for Christopher Robin. Alyssa, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at @TheRationalDove, and I just wanted to plug another thing. I'm also, if you like hearing my voice, I am also on Nerdy Geek Talk, which is a podcast that both Michael and I are on. I don't think we've promoted it too much on this channel.
We used to
promote it, but I think
I don't know why that slipped.
Oh no, it's fine. No problem.
Yeah.
I think though since I figured it would be a good idea to start it again. So just so you know, I am on a podcast called Anime Overdrive on Radio Talk, and I think next week we'll be talking. Well, actually, it might have already come out by the time this podcast airs. Maybe, who knows? But the next podcast we're talking about is JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, the Stardust Crusaders. So if you like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and specifically the third arc of it, then take a listen and or keep your eyes peeled for that.
Yeah. Yeah. I am also a Nerdy Geek Talk, mostly on Steel City Bots podcast as one of the guest hosts, sometimes the one in charge if Eric's not around, as well as Nerdy Geek Talk reviews and Misaligned, which should hopefully be back by the time this podcast goes out. So go check Nerdy Geek Talk for all these podcasts. For me personally, you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and of course YouTube at SoundJack426. Instagram, I have toy photos. Twitter, I should say, is where I hang out. So come on by and say hi. And you should like this. You should like this video, share this video, and subscribe to the channel. You can also support me on Patreon, and the links are in the description below. So thanks for tuning in. This is SoundJack and Alyssa signing off.